How you doing? My name is Franklin Cruz. You are listening to Real Estate Geniuses. So we are going to be going over what are the top seller questions that I have seen and heard doing over 100 face-to-face conversations with sellers, with deals from land, big, small, and properties. And we're going to be reviewing every single one of those questions, the top 50. This is part 2 of that right now within this podcast, in this video series as well. So kind of want to share as well. Again, I'm a military veteran. I'm a true investor, meaning I actually am doing deals in the market, meeting sellers face-to-face, and a true developer. So I've done developments all throughout inside Polk County, and I've got students throughout the country as well that are doing deals. So this video is meant to show you what actually sellers are saying and the questions to those answers, so then you can actually understand that. So if you're a seller or investor or developer, this will hopefully educate you so you can understand what sellers are really looking for, and so you can actually help them rather than somebody trying to scam anybody. The biggest thing is being transparent, moving forward, showing exactly what to do and how to do it, and we're showcasing that with these questions today. So hopefully you get a ton of value. If you do, get ready, get a pen, paper, or crayon. Let's move forward. All right, so when it deals with sellers, I have dealt with a lot of different sellers, what I call pre-beard and after and now beard, right? So in this situation, so home sellers always ask a ton of questions, right? And so questions come up. I wanted to capture as many questions as possible in every transaction I've dealt with sellers. And so here's some top ones. So unique situations. What if I owe more on my mortgage than the home's value? So if you owe more than what is actually owed, typically that's called like a short sale status, or your property is just the value is extremely low and you owe more than what the value is at, right? So if you owe more than what the property is worth, that's typically like a short sale. Sometimes what we can do is we can negotiate with the bank. We can negotiate to find a solution that's a win-win scenario for you, for us, for all parties in advance. Sometimes they'll actually even pay you to leave the property. It's called cash for keys or deed for keys, that the lender will actually do for you because they don't want to go through the foreclosure process either. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort. They would rather just say, hey, give us the keys, sign it over. No harm, no foul. We'll give you some money to move. Or if it's a deal that we could work out, then we'll do the same thing. But we have no clue. Every situation is a little bit different. So what if I want to sell? What if I want to sell and stay in my home a little bit longer? So we offer flexible closing. So if you want, I've just recently did this. So somebody needed money to move out, go to their mother's home because their mother's elderly. It was Rhonda at a property. And what we decided to do is say, look, why don't you go to that property and we'll pay you $10,000 now and we'll finish the property and then we'll pay you the difference within X amount of days or X amount of months, whatever we agree upon, win-win scenario. So, or we could do a small leaseback. We don't like doing large leasebacks just because, at the end of the day, we're trying to move on this property, and cash and money, there's interest on our money as well. So we have to make sure we're in, out, moving forward, and then moving in the positive direction. So how long does it take to sell a home that needs repairs? So I have no clue. Everything depends, right? So we haven't done a full evaluation on your property. So it can take a little bit of time, or it could take a traditional way, it could take months, right? Somebody's got to get a mortgage. Somebody's got to figure it out and move forward, right? If it needs repairs, a lot of times people can't get traditional mortgages. So now it's going to take a lot longer because now you got to find a cash buyer. They're going to give you a lot lower. And then you don't know if they're going to even close. For us, we're true investors. If you find somebody who's a certified true investor or certified true developer, they actually, when we say we're closing, we're closing. When we're saying we're doing something creative, we can do something creative. When we're saying, hey, we're going to give you a little bit of money now and money later, that's what we're going to do. So that's what you can count on. So what are the cash buyers looking for in a home? So what we're looking for, and a lot of times it's not just saying, hey, we want to make as much money as possible. No, our biggest thing is we've got to create a win-win-win scenario. So for a cash buyer or what I call a true investor, right? Like us, we focus on the home's condition or the land's condition. We focus on what's the potential value. If it's a home, what's the potential value after the repairs? Or if it's land, what is the value if we can do X, X, or X? Like if we could put a gas station there because it's close to I-4 or close to a major intersection, what's possible there? But we haven't finished any studies. We don't know if there's wetland issues, contamination issues, environmental site assessment issues. We got no idea. And there's certain protocols you need per every municipality to build. We don't know. When it comes down to a home, it's the exact same thing. If the property needs work, we're going to have to evaluate the property, figure it out, see exactly what we can do to the property. And so our offer is going to be based upon what is the state and what is the potential for that property. So that's why I say we don't know. So you can't just say, oh, we're going to max out the property and max out the profit, because that's not accurate. We really don't know. That's why I say, look, the goal is simple. We're trying to just create a win-win-win scenario. A win for you, a win for us, and a win for whoever is going to end up with the property. If it's us, great. Or if it's a tenant, or if it's somebody that we sell the property to, it's got to be a 3-win scenario. So hopefully this is making sense. Next one. Can I sell my home even if it's been on the market for months with no offers? Yes. If it's even as slow as a snail, yes, you can still sell the home. We work with homeowners. So if you've got trouble selling it for months, we can offer you a true offer, and avoid all these delays. But you've also got to be realistic. I mean, there's an old saying that pride comes for the fall, right? And so what I notice is saying, look, if pride comes for the fall, that means there's a number issue. And you need to be honest and transparent with where you're at with documentation. For example, I was just talking to an individual, and I'll even showcase this property. So this property was I think it was at 1205 Neville, Lakeland, Florida, right? So this property has land. And on this property that it has land, it's got about 3 acres of land. So it's not the house, right? But it is right here on this big chunk of land that we're going to go to Google Maps and pull this up. So I was talking to the owner. He was like, man, I got this site approved for 84 units. And the only thing is he has no conceptual plans, meaning he doesn't know what he can actually do to the site. He's just kind of talking about it. A conceptual plan kind of looks like this, right? This is what's possible. This is one of the sites that we own. This is a 9-acre parcel. So we know we could put 84 units on this site, right? Neville's site, which is right here, so if you look close, this entire parcel is about 3 acres, right? So if I were to say, okay, Franklin, I want to know a little bit more information about this site. So for example, you would go to your local municipality's office, go to the parcel site, you're going to input the street address, and then I'm going to click on search, right? And on here, it's going to showcase, you go to interactive map, and then when you're on here and clicking on it, it's going to showcase like right here. So see 3.5 acres. Now, the only thing is, here's a couple things. One, this backs up to a railroad. So meaning you're going to hear a railroad. It also has, it's at the end of a normal subdivision. So if I layer this, that you're going to see the aerial view is right here. There's a house here, and then there's this huge subdivision, and then you kind of have this park, right? And so with here, when you dig into it, he's got this site. Now, back in the day, you could, if you ever really want to nerd out and see stuff, so you can see what did the site look like in 2007, and some what they call the GIS map even showcases all the way up to 1900s, right? So for right now, he's got this site right here, 3.5 acres. This site, if it was approved for affordable housing, may be in the possibly $1 point something thousand dollar range, right? Or $1.1 million, right? Possibly. But the only thing is, if you check out this site, this is why you want to do due diligence. Look, it's right next to CIX, meaning this is not good. You're going to hear this all the time, train tracks and everything else. And it's in a normal neighborhood. This is not like, it opens up and it's not in a normal residential area. This is not an apartment area. This is a residential home. So you're going to have, let's see if it was 84 units, 84 vehicles always going through a normal neighborhood with normal houses, right? So he wants $3.5 million for this property. He's out of his mind. He just doesn't know. So he is going to go through this process of, can I sell the property even if I have no offer? He has no offers on this property. Nobody wants to buy it. And he's had this on the market for I think it's been over a year almost. So no, it's not going to work for him at all. But sometimes people don't see that. And so what they see is just what they think. And they're not seeing the bigger picture, right? So sometimes, again, pride comes for the fall. Sometimes you make a bet, especially on a piece of land or a property, and it's just the wrong bet. But the question is, did you learn from this bet, or are you keep on making the same mistakes? If you're making the same mistakes, it's just not going to work. So understanding the market trends and your options. So why should I choose True Investors to sell the property? So one, we're a military veteran. I'm a military vet, right? So this is actually when I landed in Baghdad in 2003 when the war started. But we're a veteran-owned business. So I pride myself on integrity and doing the right thing at all times and making sure it's a win-win-win scenario. We're not typical, if you wanted a traditional way of selling your property, that could take months, not a lot of transparency, very long contracts, very difficult to read into what's going on. It's not what I do. It's not what I believe in. I believe in transparency, win-win-win scenarios. We could all win. You just got to share what's going on with your property, evaluate the property. We come up with a win-win and we move forward in a positive direction. The stuff come up. Yes, it is what it is. It's called life. At the end of the day, stuff happens, but as long as you're transparent and it's high communication and you're high communication and I'm high in communication, everything should work out. We're fine. Just, don't dig into it too much, but we can make it done and quickly. Whenever you want to close, we can close. So can I sell my property? Can I sell my home without a real estate agent? So I understand, look, you're busy. You've got, potentially a baby, you've got food, you got clothes, you got paperwork, you got kids, you got to manage money, all this stuff. At the end of the day, can you actually sell the property without an agent? Of course you can. Yes, it's called for sale by owner. And you could, if you want to personally do that, just FYI, it's a lot of work and you're not going to make as much money because the exposure is only going to be to the people driving down that neighborhood. If you hire an agent or if you actually have somebody who's a true investor certified like ourselves, then what we're going to do is if you do the for sale by owner, you're going to have to handle the marketing. You're going to have to handle the negotiations. You're going to have to handle the legal paperwork. All of that is on you. You got to figure this out. If you have experience doing that, go for it. If you have no experience doing it, don't do it. It's not going to be pretty, okay, at all. So I would recommend let's not go that route. My recommendation is go the route that makes the most sense. That's it. So, and what's highest profitability for you, a lot of times it's probably not going to be an agent. It's going to be actually dealing with a true investor or a true developer that we could be transparent with you and share with you, say, look, here's where your property value is at. We're going to educate you first. Then we're going to we're evaluating the property, educating you, coming up with a win-win scenario. We always make 3 different type of offers: a fast, slow, or creative offer. And again, we work around your schedule, and also so you can know it's got to be a win-win. It can't be lopsided. So, but we'll share with you sometimes, again, we could overpay people. We could pay top dollar because we're not covering agent fees, commissions. You're not having to pay for money for marketing, all this stuff. We've got it covered under one house, and we could take care of it. And we're professionals. Like, this is what we do. So, all right, let's move on to the next one. How do I avoid scams when selling my home? So the number one thing is never sign contracts with buyers who haven't seen the property. I think that's the biggest tell. If they're attempting to call you over the phone and sell the property directly over the phone, don't do it. It's a scam. Because what happens is 9 times out of 10, they're attempting to sell the property to somebody else sight unseen. Okay, just think about this. Would you invest 200 grand sight unseen? No, you wouldn't. Because you don't know what's going on with the property. So don't think you hit the lottery. The thing is, right now, it's a wing and a prayer, right? So you don't know what's going to happen. And a lot of times they're going to lock up that property under a notice of commencement or legal paperwork. And now they're going to clog up your title so you can't actually close until you pay them the $1,000, $2,000, or $5,000 or $10,000. How do I know that? Because I used to be the guy teaching people like this. I used to work at a company called Clever Investor, and we used to teach wholesalers and wholesaling. And until I figured out, like, this is wrong. What we're doing to people is wrong. It's wrong to do this to sellers. And I felt horrible, and I changed my ways. And now I'm seeing a new light. I got educated, started True Investors. And, you know, it means something to me that I'm a military veteran. So the first time that I figured out this was wrong, that was it. I was out. No longer at Clever Investor. Did my own thing, and it's working fine so far. What do you think? Right? So it is what it is. But at the end of the day, don't sign an agreement if you haven't even seen the property. You know, you want to make sure that you're meeting the person. If they're not willing to meet you at the property and actually do an evaluation on the property, that feels shady. And just FYI, it is, Jesus, Laura, I almost coughed, but it is shady. So don't do it. Just do the right thing. Call a certified true investor. Go to True Fast Offer if you want, or find somebody you trust that really knows it, that is doing a proper evaluation, showing you a physical papers of what are the comps. And remember what comps go by: 5 years up, 5 years down of the year bill. What's similar in style? Concrete block can't go to a frame house. Similar in square footage. You know, does it need upgrades or downgrades? All these are factors. So you've got to, turn on your common sense. This is just common sense stuff. I know you know this, and if you don't, write it down. This is not difficult. At the end of the day, it needs to get done because you've got to make as much money as possible. If you're a seller watching this, you've got to make as much money as possible. I get it. And if you're a true investor, you've got to help them achieve that. You've got to assist them in that moving forward with integrity. If you don't have integrity, if you're only chasing the money and you're not chasing to get better, then you're in the wrong business. As a true investor, tear off that stripe because you ain't here, right? If you're a seller, just be transparent. Tell us what's going on so we can assist and we can do it. Just because we're not a nonprofit doesn't mean that we're not philanthropic. I run a philanthropic business. We're helping society move forward. We're helping humanity with education, and it's got to just be a win-win. The more that we create, the better quality videos that we could put out, the better quality contracts, and the more that we can expand our vision of more certified true investors can get out there to help people. So I'm passionate about this if you can't tell. All right, so the next one as well. So how do I handle multiple offers? I got a whole bunch of offers. What do I do? So you want to look at the price, the terms, and the buyer's ability to close. So price, terms, buyer's ability to close. You don't want to get stressed out. Cash offers often, you can close faster with fewer headaches, right? So if you're dealing with a certified true investor, right? Somebody who's an actual true investor, meaning they're showing you they're evaluating the property. They're showing you the comps. They went to the property face to face. They've done their due diligence. They're showcasing you, this is what your property is valued minus the repairs, or this is what your land is valued minus what you don't have. If you don't have studies, you don't have conceptual plans, you don't have all these things, then yeah, that's a big minus, right? And then can we close or not? Look, if they're a certified true investor, they can close. That's not a problem. We're backing them. If they're not, I don't know. But they had to meet the criteria of going out there, teaching you what's going on with your property, evaluating the property accurately, right? And then whatever offer, you have to make that judgment. Has other people used them? Are they good quality, right? You have to make sure of that. Or you could just put the property on the market and again, if you have multiple offers, just figure out who has the biggest ability to close. That's it. Who has the ability to close? That's it. Next one. What happens if my property does not sell? Well, probably comes for the fall. One, you need to lower the property. You need to lower the price, improve the marketing, rent it out, or sell it to another investor for a faster closing. A lot of times, the rule of thumb is if you have no showings within a week, you got to drop it 5%. And you just got to keep dropping until you find that sweet spot in the market. And you really don't even know what the sweet spot's going to be. You just got to have to figure it out. I don't even know what to tell you on that one. That's just the way it's going to go. So hopefully this helps. But lowering the price, improving market. Remember, the more people see your property, the more exposure you have on your property, the easier it's going to be for you to move forward on the property, right? So again, more people see the property, the easier it's going to be for more people to make a decision. More exposure, better. Less exposure, not so much. Can I sell my property even if I owe back taxes? Yes. If you owe back taxes, that's something that we can negotiate and possibly we could just pay at the closing, but we're going to have to figure out, is there any other lien? So we've got to get with the title company. We've got to make sure the title company knows what they're doing, right? One, what we always do is first we get the property under contract with a contingency that the taxes are X amount of dollars that you state. Anything that is more, that's going to have to be on you, right? So, but we're going to make sure, like, you know what the amount is. And if you owe child support, that could be on a house. If you owe a judgment, a judgment from a court, they can put that on your house. A lot of times for homesteaded, they can't, but sometimes they can. Everything's a little bit different. And everything is negotiable as well. So you just got to kind of sit down. We have to figure this out, come up with a win-win, and then take it from there. Do I need an inspection before selling? No, not always. It does help, though, if you avoid surprises that can kill the deal. For us, we make it a protocol right when we actually purchase or get it under contract. We're immediately hiring an inspector, getting the inspector out there to start figuring out any kind of gotchas, anything surprising that we didn't know about or you don't even know about 10 times out of 10, right? So we don't know. We have to figure this out. Now, do you have to get it before inspecting? No. But to me, I would. Like if you're a seller and you want to sell the property and the inspector comes up with small things that you can handle, my recommendation, just handle it. Because what happens is if you want to sell it for max dollars, property's got to be in perfect condition that the insurance company will put in, that will insure the property, period. And if not, you're not going to get the insurance to actually move forward, right? And you can't get the mortgage. If they don't have insurance, you can't get a mortgage because the mortgage company won't mortgage the property without insurance. So you won't get top dollar. The only way you'll get top dollar is somebody with a mortgage. Now, if you want to sell to like a true fast offer, a true investor, a true developer, that's totally different. Now, we could still maximize how much we can give you, but again, every scenario is different. You got to tell us what's going on, and then we'll move forward in that direction. All right. So next one, can I sell my home if I'm behind on my mortgage? Yes, you can sell it. Sucks, I know, it's a scenario. I've actually been through it in my life, but you can sell your property. It's just one of those things. For example, we bought a property. This is Rhonda. She was actually late on her mortgage, very behind on her mortgage. and the foreclosure was looming, right? So the numbers actually made sense for us to catch up the mortgage, keep the mortgage in place, and then Rhonda actually profited as well. So it was a complete win-win scenario, but not every deal is like that. So just FYI. So how do I calculate my closing as well? So calculating closing, the easiest way to do is just take whatever your sales price is, add 8 or 10%, and that's your fees for closing. So if you got a $200,000 mortgage, and your fees all together with agent fees, taxes, title, everything else, unless you're selling to a true investor, right? All those fees will come out to about anywhere from $18,000 to $20,000 if you're selling it for a $200,000 home. $40,000 home, it's 40 grand, right? 30 to 40 grand. When you add up all the fees, agents, taxes, everything. If you're selling to a true investor, totally different. We could actually work something out that probably it's a net to you. Again, every situation's different. It's got to be a win-win-win scenario, and then we take it from there. So what is a short sale? It's not a short person. So a short sale is basically that is when your home, that you have to sell your home for less than what you owe. With the lender's approval, though. The lender actually has to approve this. If they don't, then it is what it is. You're probably going to have to owe that amount, and they will send it to you versus taxes. But you're going to have a buyer for the property that's a legitimate buyer to actually move forward on the property, and then the lender approves it, and then you move forward. That's a short sale. You're shorting your current mortgage and potentially selling it. The biggest thing is you want to make sure there's no repercussions on your side. So how do I know if a cash buyer is legit? Simple. A true cash buyer, proof of funds is one thing, social proof, testimonials, and it won't require a mortgage to close either. So somebody who actually knows what they're doing has done this before. For example, these are sellers that I've dealt with. So that is Miss Linda on one side, Mr. right here. This is Mr. Barbara Stewart and Jimmy Stewart. This is Rhonda. Gosh, I think that's Charles. That's Charles over there. I forget Willie over here. Ralph and his wife he passed. That's why he wanted to downsize his other property. This one, I actually brought my son. I forgot their name. So, they have proof that they've done this before. So if they've done this before, then yes. Then potentially, yes, there's somebody who's credible, right? They're a true fast offer. There's a reputable company. They're showing up to the property. They're evaluating the property. They're bringing the comps. Their contract is simple and easy. Possibly they even have a uniform on. They're legitimate. You go to the Apple store, that's really Apple, right? That's a legitimate company. It's the same thing here, right? So next question. Can I sell my home even if I have a tenant? Yes. You can. Again, you have to follow the laws dealing with tenant laws in the local municipalities. But buyers prefer, sometimes the tenants are already in place, or sometimes no. We really don't know. You don't want to do anything because you may go to jail, right? So you want to make sure that you're following the laws of your local municipalities and it can move forward in a positive direction. So what if I have a home that has some legal issues, right? And that the judge is trying to throw something at you, right? And you're confused. You don't know what to do. Well, can you still sell it and resolve these issues? Yes, you can resolve liens, probates, boundary disputes, if you have easement issues. All of this can be sold. It just needs to be designated in the agreement. Personally, as a true investor myself, I would want to know, what are the issues? How much is it going to cost? What's going on? How do we clear up those issues? Sometimes we can have a disclaimer that says, hey, we will close when we have the complete total amount paid off and it's moving forward in X amount of direction, right? Another thing, do I have to fix anything before selling it? My recommendation, look, don't leave it decrepit, but if you can fix certain things on the property, then fix it. If you can't, then no, you don't have to. You can sell it as is, but that may lower your sales price also. So if you can actually sell the property and it being cleaned up and fixed up, mostly clean, painted. This is all very inexpensive, but it could raise your value a lot higher. So if, if you could pressure wash your home, paint your home, just paint it white, keep it simple. Keep it simple, clean, everything clean. That could raise, you could invest $1,000 in paint, but you get $10,000 more. You can invest on pressure washing the home. You could buy a pressure washer for $200, but it raises the value $5,000. So do things that really elevate the value very high. And sometimes you just don't have to fix it. So what's the fastest way to sell my property? So the absolute fastest way is obviously sell it to a true investor, a cash buyer, somebody who's really going to actually close, create a win-win scenario for you and everybody in advance. And then that's really the fastest way if you want to get technical. So you can go to like truefastoffer.com, right? And tell us the information, tell us the scenario, and we'll take it from there. So should I sell my house now or wait? That is your call. That is totally up to do. If you need the money and you can't maintain the property and you need to sell it, sell it. If you can't wait, tracking the market for better timing, then do that as well. So it's 100% on you. If you're ready to sell and you're ready to sell and we come up with a win-win scenario on the numbers and you're ready to sign a contract right now, we're ready for you, right? Period. If you're not, wait it out. There's no rush. Nobody's forcing you to do anything. You don't have to sell. So only if you want to sell and move forward, then make the decision. Or if there's a number and you say, hey, this is the number I would sell and sign an agreement today, then do that. That's fine. Can I sell my home even if it's in probate? So yes, probate laws vary though. Every municipality is different. Every state is different. You've got to make sure you got court approval. You got to make sure you have the proper paperwork. Allow us to evaluate it. We're going to show it to our attorneys. We're going to show it to the title company. Make sure we can move forward, and then we go forward. If it's approved, we're good to go. What's an off-market sale? Shh, don't tell nobody. No, what I mean is what's an off-market sale is it's when you sell your home without listing it publicly, often to an investor like ourselves, true investors, or a private buyer. That is it. Just keeping it really, really simple. So sometimes you got to be quiet about it. How do I set the right price for my home? Great question. You want to look at the recent sales, kind of like what I talked to you before dealing with recent sales. What's the year built? What's the similar in style, similar in condition? Remember, 5 years up, 5 years down of year built. Upgrades versus downgrades. I always recommend get a professional evaluation, a professional inspector on the property. And then you could always ask a true investor as well. Somebody who's a certified true investor, we can move forward in a positive direction and then let you know and say, hey, this is what the properties were worth. I would not be looking at the property next door to you and say, hey, that guy 10 years ago sold his property for X. I think I can sell my property for this. It doesn't work that way. So, yeah, and again, if your property needs work too, you've got to, what's the evaluation? How much do you owe on the mortgage? How much? I always look at it from the reverse engineering. What's your mortgage at? How much money do you need right now? Right? Minus, let's say 5 or 10% because you got fees up to 20%. And then if you know that number, then you know like what's your bare minimum number, and then just be very transparent with a true investor that you're having a conversation with. All right, do I need to move out before selling? Not always. You can stay until closing, and some buyers allow it, right? To even rent back for a short period of time. Do I recommend that? No, not so much. But if that's what you want to do, that's fine as well. There's nothing wrong with that. You've got to just see what works best for you. So why should I sell my home to true investors instead of listing it with an agent? Great question. True investor, look, we buy fast, as is, no fees, fully transparent. We do our best to pay top dollar, even above what you can get, and you don't have to wait, period. Here's the offer. We're moving it forward. You can list with an agent as well. There's nothing wrong with that, but you are going to have to wait. because they don't do what we do. We're literally, when you contacted us, we're the buyers. You're letting us know, hey, we're ready to sell and sign a contract today if we can agree upon numbers. Perfect. Then we, veteran-owned business, full transparency, we're going to do an appraisal on the property, evaluate the property, see the property, and make a fast, slow, or creative offer on your property, like right there and then, period. That's how we're going to work. All right, so that is the end of the 50 questions. We went two-part series, 25. We're probably going to still keep on going if this series, if you got something seriously out of this that was like, oh my God, Franklin, this is amazing. I love it. Fantastic. Completely appreciate that. You can go to our website, True Fast Offer, if you're a seller of properties. If you're somebody that wants to, also if you sell land or property, go to True Fast Offer. If you're somebody that's like, Franklin, I really want to get started. I really want to actually start, be a true investor, actually evaluate properties, see properties, actually put offers on. You can go to trueinvestors.com as well. Or if you want to be a developer, truedevelopers.com. And then we can take it from there. So this was amazing. Hopefully you got something out of it. And I'll see you on the next episode. If you got something out of it, again, leave a comment below. Share it. Like it. It helps the algorithm. It helps other people know, what they actually like. Hey, this is credible information from somebody who's actually doing it. And then again, it just helps us move and push this conversation forward to other people throughout the entire country so more people can be educated as home sellers and landowners. And then also even true investors or soon to be true investors that are doing it with integrity. And for those that are still doing deals over the phone and attempting to scam people, stop. You just got to stop. At the end of the day, that's not the right way to do business, is scamming people over the phone. So I'm talking directly to you. The time is over. So that's why I created True Investors, so we can actually help sellers and help landowners as well get as much money for their property, and we create win-win scenarios. So my name is Franklin Cruz from True Investors, and I'm out.